went into. Notwithstanding that, there is an issue. I mean, Poland has an issue about going day one to 100% auctioning in the power gen sector, for example. That's been well flagged out in the media and well discussed, because they have only recently moved from a state-controlled, if you like, electricity sector. They've only just recently liberalised, and there's a lot of the big power plants outside Poland waiting to pounce and start up power gen plants in Poland and purchase maybe some of the existing old stuff, and the whole structure of their grid is a problem. There are structural problems in some countries. Now, I don't see any change from the original Commission's proposal from 100% auctioning in the power gen as the norm, as the major ambition. Having said that, we cannot rule out, we cannot rule it in either at this stage. That's what trilogues are all about. It's the debate process. But I wouldn't rule out, a political pragmatism in responding to problems, one or two problems in a couple of our member states, on different issues. But that won't change the major architecture of the Commission's original proposal. Now, the trilogue, you sort of questioned the trilogue and what that's all. Well, the trilogue, we have a document in front of us that has 3 columns and an empty 4th column at the moment. Basically, the first column is what the Commission has proposed on the revision of the emissions trading system, for example, a list of recitals and a list of articles, what the Commission's architecture is for it. The second column at the moment that on this document we're discussing at our trilogues is the European Parliament's report, if you like. It's the Environment Committee's report, because the Environment is the lead committee. We'll have taken into account what has been discussed in Lena's committee, but the Environment Committee is actually the lead committee. So it's the Environment Committee report in the second column. And now in the third column, we have the Presidency or the Council of Environment Ministers' views on either the Parliament's position or the Commission's position, or maybe just fresh new proposals on their own. They've added new articles and the odd new amendment here and there. So it's really, we're sitting down, the Presidency and the Commissioner there, and through me as the rapporteur, together with the lead negotiator from the French presidency side, chaired by the chairman of the Environment Committee, we and all of my shadow rapporteurs, and Lena Ek is there too as the rapporteur in ITRE committee, the industry committee on this issue. We debate, we go through 100 odd amendments and we literally plough through them all. We'll have 4 or 5 long sessions, one at least of which will be open-ended until there's white smoke in the early hours of some morning. And we just try and agree a position, co-decide between the Parliament and the Council of Environment Ministers on the Commission's original proposal. That's all, a trialogue, 3 parties round a table trying to iron out any outstanding difficulties that exist. We've just literally come from the first trialogue on the emissions trading system. And as you refer to that, the trilogues on this package actually started yesterday.
First, I want to question your description on the trilogue, and maybe you want to alter it yourself once you've heard Avril Doyle describe it. I think it's very rare that you find a member state or a state wherever in the world where all political groups in the parliament are present when you negotiate the actual text in legislation. So I think it's the opposite. It's the most, I would say, coherent and open and transparent legislative method that we have, I would say. And I think this deserves to be mentioned. Now, on the second thing, on the influence from those countries who have described or mentioned that they have problems with part of the proposal, every member state actually supports the climate package. So what we have to deal with is the content, and especially for some member states. And of course, when the last group of member states entered the European Union, it was described that they need twice as high economic growth for 20 years to reach the same level for their citizens. And of course, this is a difficult task for them. And if you add that they not all of them have invested in the newest technology or have a need for a lot of new investments. Of course, this is an area where they want to discuss. At the same time, I would say that always after financial crisis, you have a technology shift. Now we also have an environmental global crisis, which adds to this. And what kind of car industry do you think survive after these two crises? Would it be the old-fashioned fossil fuel consuming very expensive cars, or will it be the efficient ones, or the green ones? So in the midst of an engineering revolution like we are in right now, the best thing we could do is to help the European industry to position itself as market winners after we're through the crisis, both crises. And that's the way we've tried to phrase the legislation in our two committees, and that's the sort of guiding principle that we have when we work together. And I think this, don't forget this. It's also an opportunity in this, and it's an opportunity for Poland, not the least for Poland and other member states.
I'd agree with Lena, and just to say, huge opportunity on the whole technological innovation area. Out of every economic crisis in the past has come a huge boom in innovation. And for countries like Germany and these, where they have the structure, where they have the industry, where they have the design capacity and all that, look, I'd say to them, first mover advantage, don't let it go to China, because they'll go through the gap very quickly with the new innovation and the new technology that we're going to need here. Let's be sure that Europe is the winner in terms of first mover advantage, because all we know for sure is that we're going into the third industrial revolution now. With the economic crisis, the financial crisis, which coincidentally is the backdrop. It wasn't when we started discussing this, but it has become the backdrop now. But our package, the climate package, measures to help us reach the 2-degree target, we're probably not ambitious enough, but that package, is such as it is, kicks in post-2012. It is not starting January 2009. And we now have the appalling backdrop in terms of facing economic recession effectively across Europe. Huge problems with financial liquidity, which is a major problem for many businesses, especially SMEs, to help them with their ordinary payroll, if you like, and to operate, to keep them financially liquid. So there are major problems out there in the market at the moment. But they are not problems created by the climate package. They are not problems created by any legislation in relation to the European Union. And our package will click in, as I say, 1st of January 2013. Hopefully we're talking about a global treaty at that stage. And I have every faith in the member state governments, the 27 of them, together with the US and the rest of the major players in the world, to in fact have resolved the economic and financial crisis prior to when we're talking about the post-2012 climate bill being in place.
Thank you so much for those comprehensive answers, and also enlightening the citizens on the political process and the structure of the European Parliament, because that is exactly one of the aims of our project. And in the name of the project, the E-Committee and the citizens participate, I want to thank you for your time spent on this interview in what must be a hectic time. And we wish you all the luck into the run-up, the end of the trilogue, and December, and a hopeful a good outcome for this climate package. Thank you.
And we'll be happy to come back.